My husband brought his mistress. She'll be taking your position. Emily sat in the cozy living room, the scent of lavender from the nearby candles mingling with the fresh aroma of the coffee she cradled in her hands. It was an ordinary evening, the kind that offered comfort after a long day's work. The rhythmic ticking of the clock on the wall and the distant hum of the refrigerator provided a soothing backdrop to her thoughts. Her husband, Michael, had been acting strangely over the past few weeks, but Emily attributed it to the stress from his demanding job. They had been married for 7 years, and while their relationship had seen its ups and downs, she believed they were solid. The occasional fights and disagreements seemed normal, just part of the ebb and flow of married life. That evening, as Emily heard Michael's car pull into the driveway, she felt a strange sense of anticipation. He had called earlier to say he had something important to discuss, and she hoped it might be about the upcoming vacation they had been planning. Emily had her heart set on a trip to Italy, and she had been dropping hints for months. The front door opened, and Michael walked in, his face set in a serious expression. Emily's heart sank a little, sensing that this wasn't going to be a pleasant conversation. Before she could say anything, Michael stepped aside, revealing a woman standing behind him. "Emily," Michael said, his voice cold and detached. "This is Sarah. She'll be taking your position." Emily's mind raced, trying to process the words. Position? What did he mean? Her eyes darted to Sarah, a strikingly beautiful woman with an air of confidence that seemed to fill the room. The realization hit Emily like a punch to the gut. "Taking my position?" Emily repeated, her voice barely a whisper. Michael nodded, his gaze unwavering. "Yes, Sarah and I have been seeing each other for a while now. I'm sorry, Emily, but I think it's time we ended our marriage. Sarah will be moving in, and I need you to leave." The room seemed to spin around Emily as she tried to grasp the enormity of what was happening. The life she had built with Michael, the dreams and plans they had shared, crumbled before her eyes. Anger, betrayal, and heartbreak washed over her in waves. "You can't be serious," Emily finally managed to say, her voice trembling. "After everything we've been through, you're just going to replace me?" Michael's expression remained impassive. "I'm sorry, Emily, but this is the way it has to be." Sarah stepped forward, her eyes meeting Emily's with a mixture of sympathy and triumph. "I understand this is hard for you, Emily, but Michael and I, we belong together." Emily felt a surge of anger. "Belong together? You think you can just walk into my life and take everything away from me?" Sarah's expression hardened. "I'm not here to argue with you. This is happening and you need to accept it." Michael took a step closer to Emily, his tone softening slightly. "I know this is difficult, but we've grown apart. Sarah makes me happy in a way I haven't felt in years. Please, just leave peacefully." Emily's world shattered in that moment. She realized there was no fighting this, no convincing Michael to change his mind. Her marriage was over, and her home was being taken from her. With a heavy heart, she set down her coffee cup and walked towards the door, each step feeling like an eternity. As she reached for the doorknob, Emily paused and turned to look at Michael one last time. "I hope you find what you're looking for," she said quietly. Then, without another word, she walked out into the night, leaving behind the life she had known and stepping into an uncertain future. The cold night air hit Emily like a physical force as she stepped out of the house. The tears she had been holding back began to flow freely. She had no idea where to go or what to do next. Her parents lived several states away, and she didn't want to burden her friends with her sudden crisis. She walked aimlessly for a while, her mind a blur of thoughts and emotions. Eventually, Emily found herself at a small park where she and Michael used to spend lazy Sunday afternoons. She sat on a bench, the memories of happier times flooding back. She couldn't believe how drastically her life had changed in a matter of minutes. The betrayal was almost too much to bear. Hours passed as Emily sat there, trying to make sense of her new reality. As the sun began to rise, casting a soft glow over the park, She realized she needed to take control of her life. She couldn't let this betrayal define her. She had to be strong, if not for herself, then for the future she deserved. Emily decided to call her best friend, Lisa. Lisa had always been her rock, someone she could rely on no matter what. She pulled out her phone and dialed the familiar number. Hello? Lisa's voice was groggy with sleep. Lisa, it's Emily. I need your help. The urgency in Emily's voice snapped Lisa to attention. Emily? What's wrong? Are you okay? Emily took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. Michael brought his mistress home last night. He said she's taking my position and that I need to leave. There was a moment of stunned silence on the other end of the line before Lisa responded. That bastard, I'm so sorry, Emily. Where are you now? I'm at the park, Emily said, her voice breaking. I didn't know where else to go. Stay right there. I'm coming to get you. Emily waited, her heart heavy with gratitude for her friend's support. When Lisa arrived, she enveloped Emily in a tight hug, holding her as she sobbed uncontrollably. They drove back to Lisa's apartment, where Emily was given a hot shower, clean clothes, and a place to rest. Over the next few days, Emily began to piece her life back together. She filed for divorce and started looking for a new job and a new place to live. The process was painful and exhausting, but with Lisa's support, she managed to push through. One afternoon, while Emily was packing up her belongings at the house she had once shared with Michael, she came across an old photo album. Flipping through the pages, she saw pictures of their wedding day, their vacations, and the countless moments they had shared over the years. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she knew she couldn't dwell on the past. It was time to move forward. As the weeks turned into months, Emily found a small apartment of her own and started a new job at a marketing firm. She threw herself into her work, finding solace in the routine and the sense of accomplishment it brought. Slowly but surely, she began to rebuild her life. One evening, as she was sitting in her new living room, sipping a glass of wine and reflecting on how far she had come, her phone buzzed with a message. It was from Michael. Emily, I made a terrible mistake. Can we talk? Emily stared at the message, a mix of emotions swirling within her. She had spent so long trying to move on from the pain he had caused, and now he wanted to come back into her life. Part of her wanted to tell him exactly how much he had hurt her, but another part knew that giving him any more of her energy would only hinder her progress. She took a deep breath and typed out a response. No, Michael, there's nothing left to talk about. I wish you well, but I have to move on. Hitting send, Emily felt a sense of closure wash over her. She had finally taken control of her life, and she wasn't going to let Michael or anyone else take that away from her. She raised her glass in a silent toast to herself and the new beginning she had fought so hard to achieve. From that day forward, Emily embraced her independence and the freedom it brought. She discovered new passions, made new friends, and most importantly, learned to love herself again. The journey had been painful, but it had also made her stronger. Emily knew that the future held endless possibilities, and she was ready to face whatever came her way. With a renewed sense of hope and determination, she stepped into her new life, leaving the past behind and looking forward to the bright future ahead. Emily thought she had a stable and loving marriage until her husband, Michael, brought home his mistress and declared she would be taking Emily's place. Devastated and betrayed, Emily's world crumbles around her. Forced to leave her home, she embarks on a journey of self-discovery and healing. With the support of her best friend Lisa, Emily navigates the painful process of divorce, finds a new job, and rebuilds her life from scratch. As she learns to embrace her independence, Emily discovers inner strength and resilience she never knew she had. Reclaiming Myself. Emily's journey to independence is a powerful story of heartbreak, courage, and the triumph of the human spirit.